All right, everyone has been muted. It's quiet on my end. So let's get the party started. All right, take this off. It sounds so quiet after hearing all of you guys. All right, getting everything set up. Turn my computer on, turn my timer on, and fix up the shoes. Gonna get a nice workout in tonight. As you might have seen in my description, we're gonna work on some endurance level tonight. It was interesting. I had one of my athletes that I write a training plan for. I decided that this week was going to be his endurance week. So he kind of wrote to me and he said, why am I doing another zone 3 workout? I just did one on Tuesday. Well, here's how it goes. Doing zone 2 workouts, zone 3 workouts, those are just as important as doing zone 4 and zone 5 workouts. And zone 6 if you have 6 zones. Reason being, we want to work in all of our zones for reasons that the body needs to know what it feels like to work in all those zones. So I'll give you a great example. When Randy was doing Ironman, he started working with Mark Allen. And those of you that might know Mark Allen, he's a multi-time Hawaii Ironman winner. His theory was to do a lot of low-end endurance workout to build this huge, massive base. So what ends up happening when you do that, because you're working in a low heart rate zone, your heart begins to understand how to work in that zone. So you can actually work harder in that zone as you move through the process. And wouldn't it be better to go faster with your heart rate in zone 3 than to go at that same speed with your heart rate in zone 4? Which one do you think you're going to last longer? Obviously that zone 3 effort. So through the process, Randy had to really not work out with anybody because initially he was going at such slow speeds just to train his heart to work at that lower level. But over time, he then started actually getting faster at a lower heart rate. And he had a really good race as a result because he built this massive engine that didn't have to work a lot or as hard because he was in that zone 3 for so long. So it makes sense to work that engine. It takes a ton of patience on the athlete's part. Most athletes work too much in zone 4 and 5 and not enough time in zone 3 because everybody thinks, well, I'm working out. I got to work hard. I have to sweat. I have to feel miserable through the whole workout. Not necessarily true for certain athletes. So tonight, we're going to work in that comfortable range for you, but the challenging part's going to be we're going to use different cadences to achieve that. So the level that you're going to work in needs to be the same or similar with a low heart rate, a low cadence, a medium cadence, and a higher cadence. So that's the challenging part. So you're going to have a lot of gear selection, but we're going to do the set 3 times. So you'll then be able to dial everything in and get it right. So we want to start off like we always do, just kind of jacking up the effort a little bit, getting the legs opened up. And for those of you that were here on Tuesday night, we're going to do the exact same 5-minute set that we did then. You may remember it. It was 15 seconds of standing, 15 seconds of seated. We're going to do that for 5 minutes to get our bodies warmed up. So everybody, big ring in the front, left hand down to your 15. So remember, you're going to see 3 gears below your chain. That should be your 15. In 3, 2, 1, stand it up. 15 seconds up. Let's go. Let's get the evening started. Kind of bring the heart rate up. It's going to do that when we're standing. Back down, seated. Try to hold the highest cadence you can hold here. It's going to take some strength. 3, 2, stand it back up. Up and down. Find that perfect place when you're standing. 3, 2, sit back down. Remember when you're standing in your hoods. 3, 2, up. I want you to try to keep your hips as still as possible. There you go. 3, 2, sitting down. Feeling the power when you're seated. 3, 2, stand it up. Hips right over your ankles. Tall in your torso. 3, 2, sitting back down. Coming up on 2 minutes. 3, 2, stand it up. Feeling a little piece of your saddle between your legs. Make sure you're even in your pedal stroke. Sitting back down. Feel the upward part of the stroke when you're seated. 3, 2, stand it up. Your feet, when you're standing, shouldn't be dropping to the bottom. And sitting down. You should be quickly hitting the bottom of that pedal stroke when you're standing and back around. 3, 2, stand it up. A little bend in your elbows when you stand. Feel comfortable. Feel athletic. And sitting down. Three, 2, stand it up. Get in a nice rhythm for each section. 3, 2, sitting down. Here into the last minute. Keep your legs moving. Don't change the effort. 3, 2, stand it up. 2 more standing efforts. 3, 2, sitting back down. Almost finished with the warm-up. 3, 2, stand it up. Keep your legs moving. 3, 2, sit back down. Last 15 seconds. 3, 2, into your small ring, up to your easiest gear. Good job. Now I didn't remind you, you have your towel, your fan, and your water bottle. Take a drink. Finish that water bottle by the end of the night. All right, so you're in your easiest gear right now. Allow the legs just to spin and recover a little bit. So if you were looking at all, if you have heart rate or power at those numbers, while we went through that first segment, you're going to notice where your heart rate went. So if it got up to what you know as your zone 4, then you know you don't want to go there for this next effort. So we're going to do 3 10-minute efforts. Goal being, each one of these, we want to try to stay as close to our zone 3 as possible. So for those of you that don't have that kind of data, I want you to use rate of perceived exertion, which at the top, number 10 means the hardest you can go. 9 and 8 are somewhere in your zone 4 and 5. And 7 is about right there at the edge, top of 6, bottom of 7, of where you want to sit in a nice, comfortable place and build that zone 3 work. So we're going to do a 3-minute effort at 65 to 75 cadence, then a 3-minute effort at 85 to 95 cadence, and a 3-minute effort at 100 to 110. So those of you that have been around long enough will know what that means. As we increase the cadence, it increases the heart rate and potentially the power if you stay in the same gear. So I'm going to allow you to adjust accordingly. I'm going to give you a suggested gear, and you can move into the right gear for the cadence if you need to. So at first, we're going to be in your small ring, which you're already in, and you're 19. So you have a 28 at the top, 23, 25, 23, 28, 25, 23, 21, 19, actually go down one more, 17. Let's go down one more. Let's go to your 16, not quite your 15 yet. Here's where you want to have 65 to 75 cadence. If this is too easy, then give yourself one harder gear. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go one harder gear so that I can get right into that cadence range. 65 to 75. So I'm right at, in terms of my power, right where I want to be, in the middle of my zone 3. We're going to stay here for 3 minutes. So really pay attention to the gear you're in right now. It's not that hard of a gear. Cadence is relatively low. If you feel your legs burning, then your gearing is too heavy, and you may need to go to one gear lighter. Settle in. See if you can hold the cadence that you've determined, 65 to 75. I'm right at the top end, right at 75. Dial it in, settle in. Heart rates, that's where you want to go. Zone 3, power, same thing. Rate of perceived exertion, around a 7. Get your towel ready. If you're doing this right, you're going to start to sweat. Our fat burning zone, that's what this is. So we need to get off from last Thursday, a little bit of that holiday. Stay consistent. 2 minutes down here. This is also helping you with your endurance. 30 full minutes in this zone is a lot of time on the trainer. Stagnant, sitting in, find that good position. Dial it in. Think about your pedal stroke. Make it nice and even. Feel the upward part of the stroke. And settle into your arms. Relax the shoulders. Bend the elbows, but hold your core. If you feel yourself starting to slouch, all right, we're coming up on 3 minutes. You're going to shift to 1 or 2 easier gears. Increase your cadence to 85 to 95, but hold the same effort level. If you feel like you need to go 2 gears, you may do so. One gear might not get you in the right place. Don't worry if this first set, you don't quite dial it in, because you're going to have 2 more chances with each of these to get it right. We're going to stay here for a total of 3 minutes. I'm right at 90. That's my cadence, right where I want to be in terms of my zone power. Again, if the legs are burning, you are going too hard. Work on your patience here. I know it may not seem like getting much out of this, but believe me, the 3rd set, you're going to start to feel it. Think about those relaxed hands. Who's got it dialed in right now? Give me a raise of hands. Good. I like it. 1 more minute here. Then the next shift we're going to make after this minute, you're going to increase that cadence to 100 to 110. But again, remember, you need to keep the same effort level. You don't have to shift yet, but you may want to shift to get right into that. 30 more seconds till we increase the cadence again. And yes, Jana, I will get to some stories. It's a storytelling kind of workout. I want to get you through this first set. All right, 3, 2, maybe you dial off one easier gear. Bring the cadence up, maybe to 100. 110's your max. No lower than 100 though. If you're using heart rate, you're going to see it start to jack up. Then you have to modify it with either just bringing the cadence down slightly or changing your gearing. Settle in. For those of you using power, sometimes this is a hard one to do, because you want to get to the 100 cadence, but you want to be in a gear that's a little easier, and your power might not quite be getting there. That's okay. Work with the cadence. Keep it high. Looking for fast legs. I'm at 100 if you're following my legs. Check your body position. If you need a drink, take it so you can practice it. These are good efforts to practice that kind of thing. If you want to move your hands around into your hoods or back on your deck, as I call it, just stay on the top. Don't move down to your drops. Find that place that feels comfortable to you on the bars. One more minute. Sweating is starting to pour out. That's a good thing. That means I'm sitting in the right zone. "30 more seconds. Hang in there. Don't lose focus. Find that one thing that you're going to keep consistent. Ten to go. Five, 3, 2, 1. Easiest gear. Take a drink. Towel off. After a minute of rest, we are going to do that all over again. And again, I want you to use the same gearing that you used last time. If some of you had to or feel like you need to, just because you have a compact crank to get into that big ring, you may do so. But I want you to really be in that right effort level. Don't go harder than you need to go today. Hopefully everybody's legs felt pretty good from Tuesday. All right, find that gear again. Somewhere around, maybe you're 16, cadence 65 to 75, 3 minutes here. Zone 3. Remember, zone 3 is, most zones are pretty wide reaching. So you have a zone that might go 20 wattage points or 25 or 30 heart rate beats. So find that, dial it in. You have lots of control here. This one, if you want to be a little on the upper end of that zone 3, that might be better. Then as we move through the cadences, You might drop that down to the middle and then to the lower end. And let's get consistent. 65 to 75 here. No higher than 75. I am at 72, if you're following me. So last time I gave you guys a story, I talked about going to a Chris Carmichael camp, coming out of camp, having signed up for a USA Cycling racing license. So I'd come to cycling at that point with a lot of club rides under my belt. So I had a pretty good engine. And the best part was I was actually an older athlete at that point. I was in my later 30s. So I had a little bit of experience from that point. But I didn't have any racing experience. Never really done it. Only watched it on television. So my first race, for those of you that have been racing, Jim, Lucy, who else? Mariana, but not here. I decided I was going to do the first race of Branch Brook. So Branch Brook is outside of Newark, those of you that know it. 10 seconds, you're going to shift to an easier gear, increase that cadence to 85 to 95. 3, 2, 1. Bring it up. Find the gear. Hopefully you've remembered from the last time. No higher than 95. And notice that I'm sitting in the right gear, the right cadence, the right power, and I'm able to talk. That's an indicator that I'm in the right zone. If I were in zone 4, you'd probably only hear one word at a time. So Branch Brook Park in Newark was the site of the first race. I really knew nothing other than go there, I guess take my trainer, maybe warm up beforehand, and wait for the race to come about. So I did just that. Got there, registered, took my trainer, kind of spun my legs a little bit. I don't even remember if I went and rode the course at all. But the course is a giant loop with a little chicane on the backside, meaning it kind of curves in, curves out. And then it was a long straightaway to the finish line. So for those of you that don't know, bike racing is a team sport. So typically, you're in a race with teammates, or you're on a team. At that point, I was not on a team. So that made me what's called unattached. So I didn't have any teammates, didn't know anyone, basically went there just to see what it was all about. The other thing in bike racing is they have categories. So when you first start racing, in the women's field back then, it was called Category 4. So that's for the newbies, anybody that wishes to kind of stay there. And the way you move from category to category is you have to earn points through placements in races. So of course, I was a Cat 4. Now they actually have a Cat 5 for women. 3, 2, bringing up that cadence, shifting to that easier gear, getting that cadence between 100 and 110. Don't let it drop down. 3 minutes here. If you're sweating now, you're doing this properly. So I get in the race. I don't even remember what I wore. Most people would be wearing their team kit. I probably just came with a plain jersey. The gun goes off. Of course, I bust out front. I'm like, hey, these guys, they're not going very fast. And I think we probably did 4 or 5 laps. Not really sure how many. So I bust out. I'm like out in the front, all by myself. I'm like, yeah, this bike racing thing, this is nothing. I'm whooping these people. So I stay out there. I keep going. And all of a sudden, a small little group comes up and catches me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's time to see if I can get away from these guys. So I start working really hard again in hopes that I can get away. We're now down to the last lap. And of course, what am I doing? I'm wearing myself down. I'm all by myself, not drafting off of anybody, using all of my energy systems. And lo and behold, in the last little chicane part, here comes the field. And by the time we get to the finish straight, they're all overtaking me, and I can't even remember where I finished. So I thought, all right, I guess I did okay. Not sure how to gauge it. Went back to my car, put everything away, decided I was going to just hang out, watch the races. You got 15 seconds. Stay focused for the last part. 3, 2, 1. Easy gear. Good job. 2 down. Towel off. Take a drink. One minute easy. Now you should have this pretty much dialed in. You're going to know what to do for this last one. Again, we're going to go 65-75 for 3, 85-90 for 3, 95, 100 to 110 for 3. And then we'll get a nice, easy rest and then finish up. So get right back into whatever heart rate zone, power zone, or rate of perceived exertion zone. All right, here we go. First one, down to that, maybe 16, 17. Pick it right, 65 to 75. Not too hard, right there in the zone you want it to be in. If you need an easier gear, go for it. You've done this twice now, you should be able to dial it right back in. I'm going the wrong way. All right, I'm right there. 75 cadence, right where I want to be in power. All right. So while I'm walking around at the race, I keep having people come up to me and say, hey, we haven't seen you here before. Where'd you come from? So I kept telling my story over and over again. By the end of my walking around and ultimately leaving, I had 5 different people come to me and ask me to be on their team. Well, that felt pretty good. So now the hard part started. How do I figure out which team to go on? So I started doing my research, looking up all these teams, figuring out who they were, where they came from. And I decided to settle in on the Somerset Wheelmen. Somerset Wheelmen have been around forever. Joe and Dottie Sailing, who were probably one of the first people in the club and developers of it, had been racing and are now, both of them, in almost their 80s, and they're still racing. So I knew that with a mentor like Joe and Dottie, that I'd be in the right place. So I contacted the woman that came to me, Brooke Wilson, and I said, okay, how do I get on this team? She said, well, why don't you come to one of our team meetings? I said, okay, where is it? So she told me where it was. I can remember going there distinctly. It was after work one night. 3, 2, shifting up, 85 to 95. Wow, that 3 minutes went fast. You guys love it when I talk. So I leave my office with intentions to get to this meeting. Wish I could remember the name of the town. Somewhere down 287 off of 202. Took me like an hour and a half to get there, and the meeting was almost over. So it didn't do me any good, but I ended up getting on the team. That was my first real team, and man, there are a lot of stories to tell from that team. So if you go and look up Somerset Wheelmen, or you look up Dottie Sailing, S-A-L-I-N-G, or Joe, you will see an amazing longevity in cycling. And you'll also see that their grandson is currently on the pro circuit and has done extremely well as a professional. So they have good cycling genes. So that first year with Somerset Wheelmen, they have an annual banquet. Brooke Wilson, one of my teammates, she kept asking me, are you coming to the banquet? I'm like, I don't know. Should I come? She goes, yeah, I think it'd be good for you to come. Be fun to, see everybody in regular clothes, not in a helmet and cycling gear. So I decided to go. It was really nice. They gave away a few awards, and unbeknownst to me, I walked away with an award. Most improved in their first year. It was pretty cool. And it was a pretty awesome trophy too. I may have to go grab it and show it to you. You're holding that cadence, 85 to 95, coming up on the 6-minute mark. Three, two, one. Shift into that easier gear. Increasing the cadence to 100 plus. No more than 110. So it was kind of nice in my first year of racing to get recognized for my efforts. But man, did I learn a lot in that first year. It was nice to have such a knowledgeable base of people to consult with, share the experience with. And of course, in that category, I had a few teammates. So we were able to work on tactics. And I learned how not to bust out of the gate and waste all my energy in the first 5 laps, which allowed me to save some matches, as they say in bike racing, for when it really counts. So like tonight, I talked earlier about zone 4. In bike racing, when you hit those kind of zones, you're burning matches. So you want to try to conserve your energy as much as possible so you can use them for when you need them most. 1 more minute. And bike racing is a cool chess game. So if you go into a race and you think, okay, today, Brooke's going to win. We're going to all work as hard as we can to get her to the finish line first. But in the 3rd lap, she crashes. Now what? Change of plans. Somebody else turns into your leader. So it's always moving, changing, spiraling around. Three, two, one. Whew. Nice and easy. You're going to get 2 minutes. So I hope on that last one, you were able to dial it in since you had 2 previous ones to try it out. You're going to get 2 minutes to cool down. Then we're going to do one last effort just to test the legs a little bit. And then we'll be done for the night. Man, this went really fast. I know, when I talk a lot, it goes fast. I haven't told that story in a long time. So some other teammates were Betty Tyrell, who is like a 25-time national champion. She's now in her, she's probably in almost her 70s by now. She was older at the time. Oh man, there were so many people. And it's cool because the cycling community is really a small, close-knit group of people. And once you get in it, I still see people now out on the road that I raced with back then. So that would have been in years of 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably. I have to think about when I actually officially retired. All right, so here's how our last one's going to go. Just like the beginning, now the legs are going to go right back to the 15 seconds of standing, 15 seconds of seated. We're going to do 3 minutes of that just to finish up. And then we're going to spin the legs out to be done for the night. So I want you in big ring, 15. And again, you should see 3 gears underneath your chain. 3, 2, 1. Stand it up. Just grind through this. We just want to see what you have left in the legs. Sitting back down. Three, 2, stand it up. See what your heart rate does in this part, or your power. 3, 2, sitting down. It actually feels good to get out of the saddle after sitting for so long. 3, 2, stand it up. Three, 2, sitting down. Find your form here. 3, 2, stand it up. Feel your hips be high. Pull your belly button in and down. One more minute to go here. 3, 2, stand it up. Keeping your head up. 3, 2, sitting down. When you look down at your feet or down at the ground, you change your body position. 3, 2, stand it up. Keep your chest open. Allow the breathing to happen. 3, 2, sitting down. When I count it down, I want you to go to small ring. Easiest gear you have. 3, 2, 1. Find 100 cadence. Settle into it though. Push your butt into your saddle and just let the legs spin. Good. If you feel yourself bouncing, pull that belly button in. Push your butt into the saddle. Keep the legs moving. "15 seconds. You're going to bring that cadence down to 90. 3, 2, 1. Bring it to 90. Stay in the same gear. Start to feel the lightness in your feet. Trying to flush out a little bit of what we built up in that standing effort. Plus we're cooling down. Hopefully the sweating process has stopped. If you haven't or aren't close to finishing that water bottle, get on that. So by the time we stop our legs, your bottle is empty. In 10 seconds, you're going to bring that cadence down to 80. So just like we did in the zone 3 efforts, 3, 2, 1, down to 80. We're changing our cadences here, but we're keeping the effort level at a nice, easy pace so we can cool down and recover from the workout. Now, hopefully, tomorrow, you're not going to feel too wasted, because if you did this correctly, you should actually feel pretty good. Now, if you were working in too high of a zone, then the body's going to be talking to you a little bit about it. But if you did it right, you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, yeah, that was a good workout. I like that one. So keep the legs spinning nice and easy. We're going to go 2 more minutes, and then we'll be done for the night. I'll run out of here and go grab that trophy so you can see it. It's actually one of the trophies, you know, I think I've mentioned this to you in the past. My mom was moving a couple of years ago, and she had all these boxes of trophies and plaques and all these things that everybody in the house had won. She said to me, what do I do with all these? I said, I don't know, Mom. I really don't know. But she's right. There's got to be somebody that you can donate them to. But I will admit that this trophy, I don't think I'll be donating it to anybody. I'll have to tell Randy he can put it in my coffin when it comes time for that. Hopefully that'll be years from now. All right, just keep those legs spinning again. Finish up that water if you haven't. Give myself a couple of more minutes. All right, I'm going to stop it for myself. I'm going to get off. You guys can keep spinning a little bit till I come back. And then I will open up the phone lines and we will be done for the night. Give me a second. I guess I have to have my props ready for the future. All right, I'm going to open up, ask you guys to unmute if you wish to speak. All right, oops, what did I do? Close that. All right, so the plaque says, Somerset Wheelman, most improved, 2004, Mara Miller. So this is the trophy.